Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our webinar today as we welcome Holy Cross alumni to talk about their experiences. My name is Courtney Lima. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Holy Cross. And I'm going to be the one that's going to be moderating the panel. So I'm going to ask the students in the room that any questions you have for our alumni to please type them in the chat. I will bring them to our alumni and we'll answer questions that way. But before we get started with questions, I'm going to turn to our alumni to introduce themselves. So Richard, you want to start?
Yeah, so my name is Richard Barber. I graduated, I was a class of 2016 graduate, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
I guess I'll go.
Anything else to that, or
I appreciate that, Rich. I guess I'll go next. So Chris Morgan, class of 2016, and I'm originally from Southeastern Virginia.
Hi everyone, my name is Fumi, class of 2017, and I'm from the DC area, more specifically PG County, Maryland.
All right, so we are going to open up with this first question, and we'll start with Chris. If you can tell us more about what you majored in college, what you do now, and about your experiences transition to being an alumni.
Absolutely. Thanks for allowing me to get things kicked off here. So I actually had a pretty interesting transition while at Holy Cross that led to where I am today. So I entered Holy Cross as a sociology pre-med track student. And during my sophomore year, made the transition to economics. So really from there, I had the opportunity to do a finance-based internship going into my senior year, which ultimately transitioned to me actually going into procurement. So it was finance support for the sourcing arm of a CPG company. And I've been in procurement ever since for the past 5 years. So after a couple of stints with a couple of years with Ocean Spray Cranberries and then some time in the petrochemicals industry, I'm now back with foods, now based in Baltimore, Maryland, and still sourcing. So all things supply chain has been my life for the past few years. So it's been pretty interesting with the challenges we're all facing right now. So that's, I'd say, more or less a kind of a high level background of my transition from Holy Cross to where I am today.
I can go next if you want. Hi everyone, and thanks again, Courtney, for planning this and my great co-panelists. So coming into Holy Cross, I was undecided and I ended up majoring in psychology. I declared as a sophomore, and I am now a practicing lawyer. I spent about 1 year at a law firm as a litigation associate, which basically I worked at a big law firm helping defend companies in all sorts of matters. And now I currently work for the federal government and I'm stationed in the beautiful state of New Mexico. So can't really talk about what I do, but I really love my job and it's been good so far. I feel like Holy Cross definitely prepared me for all the challenges I faced, including living out in the middle of nowhere.
Nice. And so I'll introduce myself too again, it's Richard Barber, but you know, right now I'm a pharmaceutical sales representative. I came to Holy Cross as a economics major, stayed that way the whole time. Actually was in a class with Chris a couple times. And I decided to go the sales route of things just because of the fact that I really, to be completely honest, I just wanted to make a lot of money. I knew I just wanted to make as much money as I possibly could and have that, you know, the opportunity in my own hands at least to do it. So sales has been the best route for me, you know, especially for someone that's competitive. And you know, I never did well with the numbers type classes with the econ major. So, you know, with a little bit of self-reflection, I felt sales was definitely the best route to go. But currently right now, again, I'm a pharmaceutical sales representative, and it's a really rewarding position. I get to travel all over the place, New England, talking to different prescribers and whatnot, and seeing what, you know, the biggest issues are with treating patients and things of that matter. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing since I've started.
Awesome, thank you all. So my next question is, and Fumi will open this over to you. You can start with the first answer. is, so we talk to a lot of students about a liberal arts education, but sometimes that's very abstract, and how do we put that together in the grand scheme of things? So can you guys talk about how the liberal arts education at Holy Cross impacted you and how you have used that in your career and also life sometimes?
Sure. I think when people think about a liberal arts education, they think of like basket weaving 101 and underwater diving 101. But I'm sure anyone here who's gone to Holy Cross can tell you that our classes are so challenging. It's so tough. You know, getting A's was difficult and it was cherished. And I feel like at least at Holy Cross, the liberal arts education really means just coming out with a well-rounded background. You know, you weren't, no matter if you were an econ major or psych major or sociology major, you definitely, whether through Monsterop or whatever else, you definitely were in a class that you would ask yourself, why are you here? And you just learned so much nonetheless. And I feel like as far as it's helped with my career, especially being a lawyer, sometimes you get a case that you have no idea what the relevance is, what the facts are, what the law is, and you have to learn something from scratch and become an expert in it overnight. And I feel like Holy Cross and how it pushed you and how you had to write your papers overnight or study for a test overnight, you know, those sorts of experiences definitely lend themselves to how well you end up working in your career. And I'm sure it probably translates the same to sales or whatever else everyone else is doing, but I felt like it certainly was not underwater basket weaving 101. It was truly challenging, but really stimulating courses.
Appreciate that insight. I guess I'll go next. I really think the liberal arts education was something that was important to me because it allowed me to kind of reteach myself how to think. And to how to look at problem solving through a different lens than I was, you know, more or less comfortable with coming out of high school. So I think for both in my professional career and my personal life, being able to operate in the gray space in this abstract space with some level of comfortability is a major takeaway that I would have to attribute to my time at Holy Cross for sure. So I think it's really, you know, they kind of say sometimes being comfortable being uncomfortable is sometimes a good thing to have. But Holy Cross kind of put a skill set behind that to allow me to operate in this abstract space now that I'm more or less, I guess, in the real world here. So I would have to attribute that to my time out on the Hill.
I would say, again, well, you know, really good insight by both you guys. And I don't have too much more to add, but I'd say it's helped me become more open-minded about looking just at every situation, not even just work and what I do for a living, but more just more everyday life, having conversations with people, whether it's, you know, the things that most people don't like to talk about, which is like politics or religion and things that matter. You know, Holy Cross has helped you kind of, again, think more critically about a lot of social issues, and it's done. I've noticed it, and I've noticed it in the kids that go there too as well. You know, they everyone that's still there asks tons of questions. The alumni do the same thing as well. Everybody's just very, you know, well-rounded and want to hear more about people's perspectives on, you know, their lives in general. So, yeah, I think that's probably, you know, again, great insights, you know, and I think that's the only thing I'd probably add to that.
Awesome, thank you. Rich, we're going to kick off this question with you because I think you've gotten a tail end out of the first two ones. So we've talked a lot about, you know, inside of classroom careers, but can you guys talk a little bit more about what you were involved in at Holy Cross?
Yeah, so I played football, so that definitely took a lot of my time. But you know, outside of school and football, I was a Alana peer mentor, which Alana stands for, again, if I'm wrong, guys, correct me please. It's, you know, it's African, Latino, Asian, Native American. I think I'm forgetting another A. But it's a mentoring program that helps students that are getting into Holy Cross get acclimated and make sure they're feeling comfortable and well, you know, just, you know, doing pretty much on the right path to a successful college career. So that was, in my opinion, the highlight. That's always what I always talk about after college, because it was such a rewarding thing to see, and especially to connect with people that were freshmen at the time, and for those freshmen to still be reaching out even after they graduated, it was awesome. And I think that's a great incubator. And I just want to say something really quick. I'm actually, this company that I'm with right now, they're looking to, increase their diversity and inclusion presence within the company. And they're all about making people feel comfortable. And I was really able to give a lot of that insight off of just the Alumni program that they have at Holy Cross in general. So that meant a lot for me. I'm going to toss off to Fumi. Sorry, I don't know. I want to, we just start get some transitioning going.
Sorry, not very good at this, as you can tell. So I was the resident assistant, which is, I guess, a dorm mother, for lack of a better word. And I was an orientation leader. And with Chris, we were Odyssey. Well, you ran the Odyssey program, but an Odyssey mentor, and same as Rich, I was an Alana mentor as well. I felt like being involved at Holy Cross is very rewarding and a lot of fun. And it's always nice, especially as like an orientation leader and as a mentor, to get to see the younger class years in transition. And I'm still close with all my residents now, even I guess 4 years since I've graduated college, which sounds crazy, but yeah, that's it. Chris, back to you.
I appreciate that that Odyssey shout out. We had a lot of good memories through that program. I personally was a student there, and then was a part of it for 3 years and ran it my last year on the Hill. So outside of academics, like with Rich, I also played sports. So I was on the men's basketball team. But outside of my time in the classroom and in the gym, which took up a good amount of time, I did try to stay active, just like everyone else here on this call. So was also part of the peer mentor program. Rich, you forgot one. We were both part of the senior gift committee together.
True, good times. Good times.
Great times, especially when you were showcasing our t-shirts that we fundraised for.
I still have that picture, by the way, Chris.
It's a very good one.
Wait, were you all the 2016 Just Do It class?
Yes.
For the class gift?
Was that us?
Okay.
That was us.
Yeah, I have that t-shirt too.
Oh, wow.
So as you guys can tell here, lots of good memories being sparked up from this group while we were on the Hill. But in addition to those, I was a member of our Student Athletic Advisory Committee and the Holy Cross Community Standards Board. So I tried to find ways to keep myself occupied while I was on campus, but outside of the Holy Cross specific things, a buddy of ours started working for Worcester, which is a nonprofit, now based out of Worcester. It's a self-standing nonprofit that rebuilds playgrounds and STEM centers within the greater Worcester community. So I was blessed to be a part of their group just as a volunteer for 3 years as well. So it was lots of good times, lots of good ties to Worcester.
I love hearing, like, as a students or kids younger than us say, like, the vibes in this panel right now. So it's really great. So a lot of, actually, all you guys mentioned being part of Alana in certain aspects, running or just being part of the group. So can you guys talk about your experience being a student of color, attending a predominantly white institution, like where you find your home, your support, and just that overall transition?
I'll start with this one. So this one's been interesting. I've been thinking more and more deeply about, my reflection on campus and who I was as a student and the interactions I had. And one thing I'll say is that it doesn't matter anywhere you go. I think, as a minority, people will notice you, right? And, they may react in a different way, and that's not under your, it's not under your control. And it's something that I kind of wish I told myself at the time, because what I'll say is there's resources to feel very comfortable at Holy Cross, right? There's people, there's groups, that you can kind of find your tribe. No matter who you are, you'll find especially at Holy Cross, you'll find a good group, a good friend group to be a part of. I have personally faced a good amount of I don't want to say like racist or backlash or anything like that, but it's more like things people say that like make you think, man, I don't know how to say this. So like, I'll give you an example, I guess. There's a, I was at a party. It was my freshman year. This was probably one of the first parties I've ever been to, actually, as a freshman. And I was in just some girl's dorm, and I overheard her say, "Oh my goodness, there's a black guy in her room." And I was a little taken back, but then again, it was more of I knew it was more of a just an observation kind of thing, and for her to mean anything offensive. So there are people, especially at a school like Holy Cross, like, again, it's a great academic school, but there are people that haven't. You probably going to meet people that probably haven't seen a black person before in their life, and it depends on how they could take it one way, you could take it another. It depends on really, how you react to that. And I've learned that, you learn that a lot your freshman year, then you kind of start to, catch a stride going forward. I don't know how, either you guys feel about that, but that I would say that's kind of some of my experience. Fumi, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, I'll go. No, I like completely second everything you said, Rich. I think Holy Cross is quite honestly a microcosm of the world. So any microaggression that you would experience anywhere ever is at Holy Cross, no matter how wealthy it is or how diverse it is. I quite frankly feel like, and I'm very honest with this, I think the culture of Holy Cross is not everybody's cup of tea. There is discrimination, there is prejudice, but I do think, as Courtney sort of alluded to, like, there is a niche for everybody. And I think getting involved and having folks see Black, Brown, and Asian and Latino people in leadership roles sort of almost like makes people feel more comfortable to see what we can achieve and what we can be out there. And so I really do think, and I really do encourage people to get involved, because I think the more interaction that folks have with people of color, the more comfortable they might be. And so there will be a lot of challenges at Holy Cross as a person of color, quite frankly, all the time, every single day, every day. But it makes you a stronger person, and this really is what you face out in the real world, especially coming from DC. Holy Cross was such a culture shock. I'm sure for you too, Richard, coming from Chicago, like it's just so different, but it's how the world is, and you will have the tools to succeed, and you will leave Holy Cross a better and stronger person.
I'm really, selfishly speaking, I'm really glad that I'm following you guys up on this answer, because like when it comes to sometimes verbalizing your experience, it could be challenging is not the right word, but it's definitely a reflection period for sure. So I think one thing, and I'll kind of walk through my experience throughout my time on the Hill. So first, when you first arrive to campus, you've got move-in day. And then when you say goodbye to your parents and everyone's at chapel, and it's like a super emotional experience. And they're basically, it's the first time that you're around your new peers at once. And that can be intimidating at times when at least during our class, Fumi, I can't speak for you, but for our class, they asked who was the valedictorian of your class or salutatorian. And like a good 1/3, half of the room raised their hand, and you're like, whoa. You're really around some, additionally elite folks.
I remember that moment.
It was really eye-opening for me, coming from a larger high school as well. But I think one thing that is critical here for everyone on this call, that again is considering Holy Cross, is that once you are here, you belong. There is no question about that. You're belonging as a student. You're belonging as a member of our group, of our society on campus. Upon graduation, that alumni group, you are a part of the Holy Cross family. So first, there should never be a question of belonging once you are there. I think as when it comes to some of the challenges of the world that we face as minorities day to day, they exist. You're not going to beat around that, but I do think Fumi, your point that you made of it being a microcosm of the world is incredible. Because as we are, at least in our businesses today, a ever more global businesses that we operate in, the global experience is felt on campus. We had students in our class from all over the world, in addition to just being all over from the US. So I do think that experience alone was really impactful for me coming from a small town in Virginia, being able to have good friends that were born and raised in Beijing. Another good friend of mine that now lives in Tokyo. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience from a globalization perspective. But I think my biggest kind of addition to the points that you guys made is that everyone belongs to that campus community once you're a part of the campus experience.
Awesome, thank you. I want to first and foremost thank you all for your honesty. I think that's really important for students to hear. And I just want to expand a little bit upon what all you guys shared. As a high school student, did you take those experiences into consideration? Like when you were looking at predominantly white institutions, and I don't know if anyone was looking at HBCUs or minority serving institutions, but if you weren't and you're mostly looking at predominantly white institutions, in the back of your mind, as you went through your college search, did you wonder, all right, how am I going to be as a person of color on this campus? Or did that come into consideration once you walked on campus and you realized, oh, this is different where I grew up? And Chris will start off. Well, there you go.
I was actually going to say I would like to kick this one off because I probably have a little different experience than the other panelists here today. So being from a smaller town in the South, more or less, I kind of anticipated or had expectations of what I could expect upon arriving to campus. And I think in some retrospects, I might have psyched myself out a little bit, just because you're always thinking of what's the worst case, and especially with just the way that media and news travels today, you're automatically kind of assuming the worst. But after becoming a part of that campus community, it was a different experience from an expectation of what I thought was like a worst case that I could have experienced. So to Rich's point, prejudices exist everywhere. But at the end of the day, my personal experience coming from the part of the US where I'm from, it might have set me up for a little more success, just because I've had to navigate those spaces as a part of day-to-day life. So at least from a transition from high school perspective, I'd say my geographical region probably had a different view when it came to my transition to Holy Cross. And ultimately, I think like the three of us would say some level of success when leaving as well.
I'll jump in there because I don't know if I have a whole lot to say about this, but I just remember thinking I'm there for a mission. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to, my goal in high school, really more my junior year, was to go to an Ivy League school. And so I knew what was going to come with that. I knew it was going to be predominantly white. I knew it was, it would probably be, a lot of stereotypes that you might put on, school like that, or schools like those. So, I had an expectation already. And I also, it really helped that I grew up in a very diverse environment. Like you had your, you had your whites, then you had, your other ethnicities, your blacks, your, Asians. Like Chicago is a pretty big melting pot. That's why they call it the best city in the world. But I would say if there's any students out there that are kind of worried about going into an environment like Holy Cross, I wouldn't even. That shouldn't be an issue at all, because you'll, again, like Fumi said this a little bit too as well, but you'll find it's really just, again, I think that's a great a great point you made, where it's really just a microcosm of the world. You're going to find your group in the world. You're going to find a group at Holy Cross too as well. So I really don't think that's really a huge concern in my opinion.
I think my experience is a little bit different because I quite frankly didn't even think about this stuff when I was applying. My my whole goal was to go to a college where I was certain that I would graduate and to make sure I paid as little money as possible. Like I'm a first person to go to college, first person to go to anything. And so I didn't really think about fitting in. I'd applied to an HBCU as well and I got in. But I just didn't think hard enough about it. And I'm actually really glad this panel existed because I think it would have been really helpful to have heard this. And I don't know, it's important to start thinking about if you will fit in and if the academic vibe or just the vibes in general are where you want to be. But I think as everybody sort of said, like Holy Cross is just, I feel like it's just a normal place. It's a great school to be. It's a great academic culture and everybody's different and you'll find your own place. But I just didn't think enough about this. So I'm glad we're all here making folks think about this.
Fumi, did you say you applied to an HBCU?
Mm.
So what made you go to that HBCU? Like, what about the HBCU do you think, if you put yourself back in your shoes in high school, what would make you go to that school?
Today?
Yeah.
It'd have to offer a lot more money, quite frankly. It was Spelman. Yeah, so Spelman's an all-women's Black HBCU. It's not just Black people that attend Spelman, but predominantly Black. And I think Holy Cross really sold me on the career outcomes for students and on the money, quite frankly. And so I knew if I went to Holy Cross, I think we have a 96% graduation rate. So I like to think of myself as average. I don't think I'm special. I'm like, all right, if I were to do average, 96% of people graduate, I'd have to really screw up not to graduate. So outcomes like that, and just knowing that people went to medical school and law school and grad school and, people got jobs afterwards. So all of those outcomes really solidified it for me.
Yeah. I think, I was actually having a conversation with someone about, applying to HBCUs. I know there's been a bigger push for it lately. My argument for applying to going to an HBCU is that you don't really get the real world at all. Like, again, I'm going to go back to your statement for me of like this Holy Cross and like really a lot of these, a lot of schools in general can be a microcosm of the whole world. You're almost in a little bit of an incubator. And when you come out of school, and especially these schools like Spelman, you'll be all right. Like a school like, Morehouse or schools.
I want to say for the Spelmans and the Morehouse, you are hating so hard right now.
Oh, I know. You're going to come after me if I'm not allowed.
No, hey guys, everybody keep it secret, okay?
but really like it's my coworkers right now are all elderly white men and women. Like I'd have to learn how to work with them and learn how to relate to them and what, you know what I mean? So it really doesn't give you a very good view of what the world is. We can't only just be Black. We have to be with everybody else. You know what I mean? That's my little 2 cents.
Agreed. I was just teasing you.
Oh, we have to tease Rich, and I can't let you in this call, Rich, by just confidently saying that Chicago is the greatest city in the world. Like,
wait, what's a better city? Name one, Chris.
DC.
DC, what?
Not even close.
DC.
There's our answer.
I'm loving the friendly banter. I have 2 remaining questions. The first one is, Fumi, you kind of alluded to this, and Richard and Chris, I don't know if you all were the first in your families to go to college, but Fumi, I'm gonna open this up to you because you did share that. So how was your experience navigating campus as a first-gen student? I think there's a lot of hidden language in higher education, and that's a perspective of being a first-gen American and also low-income first-gen student. So I had that problem going to college. So I just want to hear about your experiences, and please, Rich and Chris, if that was also your shared experience, please share as well.
Hidden language is the perfect word. Like, Chris, you mentioned this, everyone's parents left after, convocation. My parents didn't even have that time because they didn't take work off. So they drove 8 hours to drop me off and they left the very same day. So it's just like, the same privileges that other folks had, I definitely didn't have. And I think the best way to break down the like hidden language of being a first gen or just, just being a new college student is seeking mentors, right? Upperclassmen just have this world of knowledge that they don't even realize that they've acquired. And there are no stupid questions. I always preface my questions with, I know this is a stupid question, but, and I feel like at Holy Cross, no one really, I don't know. I felt like everyone was just so open about answering things. So I always sought out mentors, and I loved my Holy Cross professors. To this day, I'm still friends with them, and 2 of them came to my wedding. The professors at Holy Cross really just put all the knowledge into my head, all the questions I asked, all the career navigating I needed. And so that would be my number 1 tip, no matter where you go to school. I hope you come to Holy Cross, but always seek out mentors. Don't ever feel like, oh, because you're the first and you've made it this far by, pulling yourself up on the bootstraps or whatever, you can do it all by yourself. No, you can't. No one can, right? We all are sort of like a conglomeration of people in our village and, all of these other things. So don't be afraid to, I see the question. Yeah, I'm done. Don't be afraid to seek out help, but mentors really helped me navigate being a first-gen student. Should I answer the question too?
Before, I don't know, again, I don't know if Chris and Richard share that. If not, then we can move on to the Monsterop question.
So I did not share that same experience. I guess my HBCU tie is my dad was a product of a HBCU as well. So I think my biggest barrier was really the distance one. Everyone in my family, from like cousins and direct siblings, all went to college in Virginia. And then I decided to go to school 700 miles away. So kind of breaking down that barrier was kind of a challenge. And I think with just the amount of students that are part of that Holy Cross community that aren't from Massachusetts or aren't from New England, it's more of one of those things that you're not alone when it comes to navigating those first few months on campus. So I definitely say if distance is a consideration, albeit the financial side of things, but just from like an experience on campus perspective, I definitely say, to go for it if you could.
Yeah, it's a good, again, both good comments. I don't have much to add. I'm a 2nd generation college student. So, I had a little bit of preparation. My dad came from Ghana. So, and went straight to college, from Ghana. So, he kind of paved the way, made education important. And we've been, doing it ever since. I plan to keep it in the family.
All right, our one more question now turned into 3, so I hope you guys are okay. But not everyone has to answer. Fumi, there's one directed towards you regarding which law classes to take. And then if someone after that wants to answer more regarding the Monsterop program, and then we'll close it out after that with what advice would you give to the high school students in the room? So Fumi, I don't know if you want to type it actually, or if you want to talk about which law classes are important to take.
I can type it. There's not really much. I think law is different from medicine. There are no real, I guess, prereqs for law. So take whatever your heart desires and get good grades in them. That would be the only advice. So there are no must-take classes. I think there are lots of must-take professors at Holy Cross, but you'll know who they are when you get there. That's it.
Yes, I got asked that question of what classes to avoid or to take. I'm like, it's usually which professors to take or to avoid, and you will learn that. So definitely great advice. So who wants to answer a question regarding how the Monsterop program is on campus? Chris, you want to take that one?
Sure. Actually, I was just taking down some notes for myself of how I was going to answer this question, because you're really making me dig deep into the time capsule. When my Monsterop experience was 9 years ago. So
I don't even, Chris, I'm with you. I didn't want to answer because I don't remember.
So and you guys can keep me honest here. Courtney, also keep me honest if some of these facts are a little off. So it's my understanding there were 5 themes when we were going through this. And I think mine was world, maybe. But albeit that the class is based off of a few different topics. So my class was based off of both religion and creative writing. So for me, this was really kind of going off the deep end because I'm more of a math science-based person that likes a right answer. So going into creative writing for me was like an experience that I had no background in. It was it had its challenges of just being new, but I think, you know, once you continue to learn to unthink and then reteach yourself these different ways of learning, different ways of thinking, for me, that experience was pretty interesting. So we had opportunities to both read fiction pieces and also read religious-based writings, not just based in Christianity or Catholicism, really based across the board, and make ties between these and kind of have your own creative writing pieces. And I will look back at it in reflection and say these were some of my more fun experiences from a learning perspective as well. So Monsterop, you know, I think was definitely a different experience. From an expectation perspective, really didn't have high expectations going into it. It was that mandatory class that was getting in the way of my requirements to graduate. But now looking back at it, it was a really engaging experience. I don't think you can select those as well. Your Monsterop, I think you kind of select your top choices and you get placed in one. Yeah. Again, I'm digging deep here, guys. It's 9 years ago.
I'm keeping you honest, on point. The only last thing I'm going to add is for students in the room that don't know too much about it, it's also tied to your residential hall. So it's more of like a living and learning program. So the folks and students that you attend class with are also going to be living in your residential hall to really help with that transition and relationship building. So Chris, great job answering. I'm just going to add that little tidbit to that. So we're at 7:39. So I appreciate our panelists for staying an extra 5 minutes. So this is our closing question. What piece of advice would you give our high school seniors in the room as they navigate this college process?
I think I'll go first. It's a loaded question because it's kind of like I wish I could give you everything I could possibly give you to prepare yourself for what you have ahead. That's called life. But I'd say just learn how to just read people, in my opinion. When you're out on college visits, when you're meeting different kinds of people, at these colleges, you need to learn how to read what people's motivations are. If you see yourself hanging out with someone like that, so really just take a look at the campus, wherever you are, take a look at the campus, take a deep look at what people are doing on that campus as you're walking by, try to take as much in as possible. But I'd say learning how to read someone is probably one of the most essential survival skills in general in life. But learning it now means a lot because it can really make or break your decision on, if you decide to go to college, but two, what college you want to be a part of or what kind of culture you want in a college. So from there, I think Fumi, you start. Go ahead, Fumi.
Oh no, that was great. I didn't get the context first to read people, but you make such a great point about what folks are wearing. My mom commented on people wearing pajamas when she dropped me off. But the one piece of advice, sorry, African moms, the one piece of advice I would give is when you come down to your final choice for college, as you all inevitably will, I think it's very important. And it's so hard to do this, you're 17, 18, 19, but you should try to make the best college choice for you. Not for your parents, not for your siblings, not for your grandparents, no matter how lucrative or whatever else it looks, because then you have to live with the decision for 4 years. You have to live there for 4 years. And I think especially for minority students, I think college almost sets a ripple in the waves of your lives and your careers. And I think it's really important to make a choice that you can live with and be happy at the school that you're at. All you really have is your mental health and your happiness. So try to make the best choice for you and no one else. And, try to just do what feels right. And like Rich says, be observant when you're at college visits, really pay attention. Where can you see yourself living and being comfortable for 4 years, then, make a decision that aligns with that interest. So that would just be my tip, adding on to what Rich said.
It's always really reassuring when I'm thinking of a topic and it transitions oh so well. So thank you guys for teeing this one up, especially you, Fumi. It's this one's going to work pretty well. I think my advice is definitely more generic, but while I would hope you would consider Holy Cross, I think this is something we can kind of take into the next chapters of our lives wherever we go. It's definitely something I'm kind of learning to continue to embrace as well. So it's kind of a two-parter. One, be curious, and two, enjoy the ride. First, everything in this next chapter of your life, whether you like it or not, is going to be new. If that's not going to college and pursuing work, if that is going to college, if it's going to the military, regardless of that decision that's made, it's going to be new. And with that new step, there's going to be peaks and valleys that exist in everything that we do. So, not getting too down on ourselves on the lows and in taking the highs for what they are, but expecting them, they are highs, they will balance out at some point as well. And as a part of this new step, embracing taking that educated risk, embrace making mistakes. It's going to be a part of that next step, but all in all, just enjoy the ride. Absolutely enjoy the ride.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to close out this webinar. And I thank you guys so much. You definitely brought, I love laughing as I see how you guys all talk together. So it definitely was a really fun panel to moderate. And I'm sure with the students, it was a really fun panel to watch and listen and learn. So thank you again. We're in December. So if you're in a cold place, stay warm. If you're not, I'm jealous. And beyond that, happy holidays, regardless of how you celebrate. And thank you again. Have a good night, guys.